Drop it like it's hot, and we're live.
Good
Hello.
morning. Benjamin, have I missed you, my friend? I have missed you. I have missed you.
Oh, darling, it's been
Darling,
too
I've
long.
missed you, sweetie. I've missed you.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Where have you been? Locked in
I feel
South
like
America
ab fab
somewhere.
right now.
Exactly.
We have to go shopping immediately.
Immediately, darling. Let's
Oh
go.
my God, I've never thought about going shopping with you. Oh wow, I just got really excited.
Well,
I think
honey,
about you shopping a lot. I think about me shopping sometimes, but I haven't
you're in for a
actually thought
treat.
about us shopping together.
You're in for a treat. One of my best shopping buddies, Irina, is joining us today.
Oh my God.
Hey,
In New
you know
York
what?
City, I used to have, I was so into fashion. Like I had custom made outfits for myself at one point. I was just
Wow.
like deep in it.
That's awesome.
Um,
I can see that side of you. I can see that that showman side of you. Like, you know what? I'm gonna get my swag on,
yeah,
and I'm gonna have my signature style. And
exactly.
did you have this signature style that some people were like, what are
A little
you
bit,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah, right?
It was like half modeled off the Renaissance and half like Tyler Durden from
That's
Fight Club.
exactly what I pictured.
I just spilled coffee all over myself.
Oh
That's a
my
good thing.
goodness.
That's
Exactly.
like what do you call it? Like baptism.
Oh, exactly. Good
I
morning,
got
Tess.
baptized.
Good morning,
It's so
Jason.
good to see you all. My
So great to see
God.
you all. Welcome.
So I
Happy New
traveled the
Year, by the
world.
way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Good
Happy New
Lord.
Year.
You were in Bali for a while.
I was in Bali for a few
I went
months.
to
Yeah.
Tennessee, which is kind of like a foreign country sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Washington, and then got snowed in, a little car accident, spent a lot of time with family, came back, and then went to Mexico, Cancun, Tulum, and Nosara, Costa Rica, where I'm going to be bringing many of you who are listening, including you, Daniel. We're going to have
Absolutely.
retreats there.
Some of my favorite places, actually.
And I just loved the culture, and I was around so many people and so much community, and to the point, it really started with our retreat, Balance Guitar, in Costa Rica. This is our 10th annual one, and it was not going to happen. There was not enough people, and I just kept standing for it. And in the last week, 4 people came. So we had this group of like 14 people or 12, 13 people, and it was just amazing, magnetic, electric, creative. We had a healing tea ceremony. We had an 8-week-old puppy dog there with us.
Wow.
There's all these gifts that came from this group, and I actually decided not to do, well, we tried to do the podcast a couple of times, but it became more and more clear to me that just being present in this element of community, I hadn't just allowed myself to just be present with all these amazing people.
That's awesome.
And in my life, I've been so, technology oriented, which is amazing because we have these tools to bring us together.
Right.
But to actually be in person with people, it was really powerful. And for most people there, I mean, I've played a lot of shows since then, but I haven't really just sat with the group for, 7 days straight. So for many of us, it was very new, unfamiliar, maybe uncomfortable, and but ultimately it became incredibly healing, and it forced each one of us to find time on our own. And I was thinking, man, so many of us, like where I live in Rhinebeck, if I want community, well, I like that. I get to go walk into town and seek it. It's not so remote that I have to drive somewhere to find it. But then the opposite experience happened where I've been living in community, like with people, traveling in groups. And so if I wanted alone time, I need to go seek that out. And I never even knew I could do that in the past. I was an extreme extrovert and codependent who fed off people's energy, and I didn't know I could take time alone.
Right.
I felt selfish or unjust in some way. So I've really been thinking about community and being present and the healing and the power that's come from it. Like even the times I resisted it most, it was so incredibly moving for me on a daily basis. Like no matter what I dealt with, And sometimes it was just having a conversation in Spanish with a local in my like broken Spanish for 30 seconds, and I would just leave like lit up, like, oh my god, life is suddenly so good.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing. That's so awesome.
yeah, and so I thought so much about you, Daniel. I even, I sent you a photo, met a local healer who did access bars, and I was like, I'm
Yes.
finally gonna receive access bars at the jungle in Mexico.
Did you have a session with her?
I did. I had a 30, so she did a 30-minute deep tissue massage. We decided to do like a half and half rather than a
Uh-huh.
full. She said,
Sure.
really to get the full session of access bars. If you don't know about it, it's an incredible type of work that Daniel does, a healing modality, and Irina, who's on here. So I had 30 minutes of it, and it reminded me a lot of sort of a cranial sacral therapy. But I would just, as
Hmm.
soon as this woman touched me, the energy that flowed through my body and then the deep relaxation was just, it was very profound and lovely.
Yeah, it's very magical, and it's also really, really, one of the um, one of the gifts of access consciousness are all of these body processes. We have like
Mm,
over 300 body processes in access, and access bars happens to be one of them that is really, kind of the entry point into access consciousness, because what Gary kind of downloaded from the universe, Gary Douglas, who's the founder and also the founder of access bars, what he really kind of downloaded was how incredibly powerful and valuable human touch is, right?
mm,
And that there are certain points on our bodies and also on our heads that, when just touched ever so lightly, sometimes what it does is it creates this space for you. It creates this space of allowance that may have been something that one was struggling with. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. An access bar session is like so powerful because you think for a second, okay, so somebody's touching my head. So what? Right? Somebody's touching my head and they're doing these things. And so what? Yet I have to tell you, the thing is afterwards, you kind of feel this, like all of these, I imagine it like a computer, like your brain is like a computer, and you have all these different wires that are crossed, different applications that are open. You look at your computer screen and you have all these files everywhere. An access bar session is like taking all of those little files and files and putting them into their place, so that you can look at your desktop and there's all this space and it's all, momentous and and possible. And my God, it's definitely one of those things that changed my life so much that I was like, yeah, I want more of that. So
mm.
that's why I actually love it and I teach it, and I'm really excited. Actually, I'm going to be in New York City, and I'm going to be in New York City for nearly a month, from June.
Yay.
From February 8th until around the end of March, somewhere in there. I'm teaching a lot of classes, almost
Oh,
like
cool.
crazy. And so, if anybody is interested in, has any questions about access bars or what it's like, or if you'd like to take a class or have a session, please reach out by all means. And Ben, we also need to get you into an access bars class. We need to get you and Cassie in, and have the opportunity to experience that for yourself in that setting too, so that you can learn it and also offer it to your clients. It's something that is such a contribution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely very, very interested in the whole access consciousness world. Has been fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Um, and what has so for anyone who is interested in this, how do we find out more?
Well, you can either visit my Instagram page and just send me a DM, or on my website is a list of all the classes that I'm doing. The website is theprovocativeIntuitive.com. All the classes that I'm doing, I haven't actually landed on an exact date and an exact time for that class. I'm going to be doing a opening your heart soul make workshop in the West Southampton on the 13th of February, and then I'm doing an Access Consciousness Foundation class, which is the runner-up to the Access Bars, the big shebang that's happening on the President's Day weekend. But there will be an Access Bars class. I don't know exactly when, but if you're interested, just reach out and we'll direct you in the lightest way possible, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
Ben,
where has community? Do you want to speak to that before?
yeah, perfect. I'm so happy that you said that because I was listening to you speak, and then of course I'm listening to you speak, and I'm thinking about community for myself, and having lived here in Mexico for a year and a half, and having my business and all of my community has been online, right? And my community
Mm.
has really, really been virtual, and it's been online for since the pandemic. So going on nearly 3 years now. And I'm hearing you talk about this, and I'm thinking, wow, what will it take to? I'm really looking forward to these foundation classes that I'm doing in New York because they are going to be in person. They have to be in person. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to in this year, in 2023, is really creating and building so much more community in person, like you talked about. I have as you know, I have a huge community of students that I've been cultivating in China for the last 6 to 9 months, also over the last couple of years, but it's grown so exponentially in the last couple of months and now that China is opening up their borders and all that kind of stuff and releasing restrictions, we're actually looking at doing a huge retreat in Dali, China, which is, so they tell me it's kind of like the Hawaii of South China, August. So I'm really looking forward to really getting out there and meeting you and meeting people and hugging them. I saw that you met one of our pandemic buddies in Tulum, right? And it was so great to see you guys actually physically connect and hug each other. And I was like, oh God, I want to hug Ben. I want to
Oh
see
yeah.
you. So I think that is happening. Albania says
Mm.
foundation is a game changer. Absolutely. Albania took foundation last year with me. It is a game changer. You're right, Albania. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so excited about that. And yeah, the virtual, you talked about the power of this virtual thing, and I had I have a dear friend, John Tran, who you're referring to, and for 18 months we did a live series on Instagram called Divine Masculine Monday. The toxin towards divine and how we can awaken the divine in each of us.
Yep.
And we got to have talks all over the world and travel and get close. And he moved to Tulum, and he decided being in person with people was so much more important to him, and he needed a break from the
Yeah.
technology. And it was energetically like just kind of a time to move on. But I mean, I ended up getting to not only hug him but do sunrise yoga with him on the beach, and then do ecstatic dance at sunset with him on the beach and meet his community. And suddenly it was just, I've started to notice wherever Cassie and I go, we create community, right? I always
Hmm.
have it like we're gonna be alone, and it's, I forget that like we make friends everywhere we go, and we run into old souls too. So if we're open to community, I
Right.
really find that it can be one of the most healing, powerful things, because we literally can be creators of that. Like the thing we're missing, like if we're missing a dance community in a certain town, right? Like we can create that. I suddenly just
Absolutely.
saw all it happening. I've been resistant to having an in-person men's circle here in Rhinebeck.
Hmm.
The only resistance was, just literally probably from being isolated for so long, like bringing people. It was weird. I didn't even know I had resistance. I think, as it felt easier to do it virtually, right? It's more vulnerable in person in some way. But when I was in Tulum, I was walking through the jungle, and I just saw this fire and this little chalkboard, and it said like weekly men's circle on it. And suddenly the whole thing, all my resistance just disappeared. It's like, oh,
Mm.
it's this easy.
Hmm.
Just create it. Let
Yeah.
go. You don't have to have anything else figured out.
Yeah.
Just
You're
invite
right.
people. And as soon as I came back, I started meeting all the, like, running back into reconnecting with all these men who are feeling really isolated as dads. Like their wives are out thriving and they're at home with their kids, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are feeling isolated now, and how to create community. And
Yep.
I saw us all together. I was like, wow, the vision and the gift was I get to be sorry for that sound. I get to be the one that creates it. I get to
Yes.
be the one that causes it.
Yes, you
And
do.
just all I have to do is invite people. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think also we neglect the fact that I for me, totally speaking for myself, I think of community and I think of something that is really kind of like, let's say, outside of me, right? And I look at it as, oh, community means, that you have to constantly be involved in these other activities with people, and you have to, there's an expectation that this is going to happen and that is going to happen. And I have to be honest with you, living in New York for 26 years and calling New York my home, I had so many different communities, right? For 26 years, I had so many different communities, different packets of people that were like family to me, and I don't have much of any of that now. I have a very small community here in Mexico of people that I certainly love, and I certainly nurture and foster. Um, but I've also noticed that during the pandemic, I got really, really, really comfortable with keeping people at a distance, right? And kind of realizing, wow, you know what? I I often looked at the fact that I felt obligated to be a part of so many things when I lived in New York, right? It's like, oh, it's so and so's birthday, or oh, it's so and so's event. I had this point of view and this interesting point of view that I had to be locked in and tied to doing those things and being with those people. And one of the things that I have learned, not that I didn't want to, you understand, but I also very much value my own time and my relationship with myself. So oftentimes I would sacrifice my relationship with myself in order to be a part of community or make other people happy or to do the right thing, to show up. And what I've learned now is like that is such a part of the ego, really, feeling obligated to be a part of something, to do something, that now I've worked so much on myself about all of those things that I'm truly excited about being an invitation for creating something else, for creating community that is completely in allowance and completely in flow of everyone and everything that you need or that I need or that the person needs. And what if we could actually take what we've learned for the last 2.5, 3 years from the pandemic and actually began to incorporate it into our physical life and our physical existence as we do begin to create community? That's something that I'm asking. And also, where are we creating community just in order or in a space to fill a lack or fill a void? And what if it wasn't about filling a void, but it was about creating something, right? I One of my favorite things about the word community is it includes the word unity. And when we're true community, we're truly in unity, right? But how many communities have we been involved in, especially like, church organizations or all this, where it's like, oh, those are the Joneses, and those are the Rows, and there's all these different groups that gravitate towards different people, and there's separation and there's fragmentation in that. So what if there wasn't fragmentation or whatever, and just again a simple state of allowance for everybody to have those communities and for us to be a part of whatever ones feel light or whatever is creating for us? Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Of course. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like this is a community. I think we also want to look at that too. Like this is definitely a community. Many of you have been so supportive and so loving on our journey. You show up every week and you ask great questions, and your questions create the space for us to have a greater possibility or to think in a different way and whatever. And I think it's such a great microcosm for the big picture. It's a great microcosm for looking at, oh well, what if our community really was there to support each other and to learn from each other, to benefit from each other, to grow from each other, and to create from that, you know?
Yes, 1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what are some of the ways that you like what are the tools you use to create community? What are the communities you go to? Do you have any communities for support when you need them?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, it's something that I've been asking a lot. How to foster. I am, as you know, always the person that is leading the
Mm,
community. you know,
yeah, I can relate
and
to that.
somebody said something to me recently the other day. I said, "Yeah, we were talking about meditation." I said, "Yeah, I meditate every day." And they stopped me and they go, "No, you lead a meditation every day." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And they're like, "You lead a meditation every day, but when you're leading a meditation, you're not truly in meditation." I was like, well, that's an interesting point of view. And I really had to think about it and sit with it and whatever. Obviously, I do a lot of things on my own in other different communities as well that I'm not a leader of, that I actually receive from. So I think it's important to look at where you do receive. And for me, creating a community is the space in which I feel safe to receive, not only just to gift, but to receive. Like, what does it mean to just be so connected to somebody? You know, when you're so connected to somebody that they reach out to you and you're like, how did you know that I needed to hear from you? That to me is true community, where the connection is beyond the five senses, where the connection is really it's really more spiritual, it's more elevated, it's more tapped into something that is outside of ourselves, so to speak. So when
Yeah.
I look for community, I look for community that is like-minded, like-hearted, that is always it's really important that the people that I surround myself with are actively working on themselves. That no matter where you are at, I don't care if you're the grandest master of the grandest master or the Dalai Lama, that we are working on ourselves. And that there is always, if we are in this lifetime, we are working on ourselves. Because you know what I find is, when we bring people together in that space of community, as they're working on themselves, I'm also inspired to be like, oh my God, I need to look at that aspect of my life that I haven't even been able to look at yet. Right.
Mm,
So I think for
yeah.
me, I think those are definitely some of the elements. I think, your question really pinged me, because I don't think that I have really sat and thought about that. Like, I haven't sat and thought about what is required for me to feel like I have a community, or that I want to be a part of a community. And it's definitely that. It is definitely the space in which I feel safe to receive. It's easy for me to give. And probably for most of you, it's probably very easy for you to give, but the space that I feel comfortable, that I feel happy to receive.
Yeah. And what if we could be comfortable and start to allow ourselves just to be held and supported? And what if there's community all around us just waiting to like wrap us up in its
Right.
arms, but we're still avoiding it because we need it to look a different way?
Absolutely. I've been
And
connecting with this gentleman actually on Instagram, and he is a gay men's coach. And he's a gay men's coach. I believe he's in either the UK or Australia or something. And he's a rugby player, right? And so he has this, and he's has a beautiful relationship with his partner, and he has like 100,000 followers, and he's always asking these really probing questions about gay community and all that kind of stuff. And I have to be honest with you, it's not something that I've ever actually, even though I happen to be gay, I don't necessarily prescribe to being a part of a gay community or a community that is, let's say, identified by something that is outside of me, right? And meaning, and what I mean by that are the choices that I make instead of the choices that I am seeking. And one of the things that he asked the other day that was so probing to me is he said, "What are some of the changes that you think we could see in the gay community?" And I thought, well, what if it wasn't about all these labels, right? All these labels and labels and labels, and within the gay community, you have got the bears, and you've got the twinks, and you've got the this and the that and the this and the that. And why do you need all of that? Why don't what if there was just a sense of acknowledgement that we are all a part of the same, the same flow, the same energy, the same light, the same source, the same universe. I'm definitely more inspired and excited about creating community that is without judgment. It's without borders. It is without definition or form or structure, and just really truly about energy.
This is really resonating, and I think there's so many even I remember when I was trying to find my sexuality and trying to figure out which box I fit into. I think I told the story here last season, but I didn't know if I was like bisexual or maybe gay, just because I was attracted to men also. And so I felt like, and every woman or every gay man, like, oh, you're gonna be gay, don't worry. I thought I was straight when I was your age. I was like, this is really confusing, because
Yeah.
I also really love women a lot. So it was
Right.
like, it was just very confusing. And a friend once said, like, what if you were just Ben?
Exactly.
I love that. And I realized
Exactly.
the more I started noticing the labels and taking them off. I'm like, wow, I'm attracted to so many different kinds of people. And being in New York was really an exciting place to like practice and play with that, because there's so many different kinds of people there.
Completely.
Um, and I just allowed myself to be that. And, it was in that space that I met my wife.
Hmm.
And we still to this day will be walking, through all these beautiful beach towns and like just admiring people. And a really
Yeah.
beautiful thing that doesn't have to mean anything about our relationship.
Yeah.
And also, I realized being around straight men scared me. Like I'd say like real alpha dudes.
Sure.
For
I
some
can
reason,
relate
it
to
didn't
that.
feel safe.
Hmm.
And so now I invite them into my podcast. I invite them into my circle. Half of the men in my At least half of the men in my community are queer relate. And so I just decided, like, so I created this thing, Dude School,
Yeah,
and
that's so
I'm
awesome.
launching it now. It starts on Monday,
Oh
and
my
it's going to be a
God.
whole school on us to reappropriate dude. Like, dude is a term of endearment and love beyond gender, and that
Hmm.
men can start to really feel like they can flex whatever muscle they are and still be a man, and learn how to be safe and reprogram all the stuff we've been taught that we need to fit in
Yeah,
this box, just because we might have a different set of organs between our legs.
sure.
Right. And so there's so many, or not, right? If we identify as a man, whatever organs we have.
Right.
Um, but like just starting to destroy these lies. And I found that, I had to create a men's group in order to deal with my own stuff, in order for these men to be like, yo, dude, like the week my dad died, and they're like, like you're no, you need to chill out. We got you this week. Right. And
Right.
it suddenly shifted that, oh, receiving can be really uncomfortable. I know to be the
Absolutely.
center of attention on stage or on camera, right? I have lots of training in that,
Correct.
but to just be in a room and be seen, right?
Hmm.
To just receive love
Right.
from a lot
Exactly.
of men, right? And practice that until it becomes normalized in our culture.
Yeah.
Um, I hugged almost every man I met while I traveled, no matter where they were from. And I noticed also, as I traveled in other cultures, there's less issues with space and affection and physicality and touch in other cultures, often the ones we most judge,
Hmm.
versus our beautiful, privileged American culture. Like, we
Right.
really actually are disconnected from people, and the pandemic also. So there's a really, I believe there's an incredible, for me, 2023 is a year of team
Of
and
course.
connection. And I'm all about like reconnecting and practicing being seen, and bring our ideas to community and see how they grow. Like as soon as we get together on this podcast, like I get so lit up being with you. The energy
Likewise.
of inviting someone else into our space can be just unbelievably renewable and resourceful.
Yeah.
And so I want to challenge anyone listening to, like, or maybe not even challenge, just to look and listen where you may be resisting community,
Yeah.
where it could just be, it'll maybe take less energy just to say yes and receive that love than it is to continue resisting it. Like, is there
Right.
anywhere in our life where we're still resisting that?
It's an invitation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, Ben? It's really an invitation. It's not a challenge. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to expand our network, to expand our light, to expand our awareness, to expand our energy. And that's definitely what I am so inspired by in this conversation today is where can I do that in my life, and what is available to me that I've never considered before.
Well, um, if for those of you who don't know, Daniel's going to be a guest speaker at Dude School one of these
That's right.
upcoming months. So, Daniel, you'll get to experience this community with us. And I'm also going to be creating community for um, really the corporate world. So there's
Uh-huh.
school, people can graduate to the grad level program. So I have deep
Uh-huh.
dives in each topic from Dude School. And then there's the Dude Pro, which is like the professional part of the school I have, which is all corporate wellness and how to apply this into our work life, and how to bring community and healing and mindfulness into our work life so that we can grow,
Wow.
work in team, create renewable energy together, right?
Wow, that's amazing.
And so I'm really excited that you're going to be a part of it. And if there's anyone who's listening, it doesn't matter what gender you are. If you're interested in Dude School, please reach out to me, because there are programs available now for
Mhm.
all genders. And then if you have a man in your life or someone who identifies as a man that could use connection or seeking connection or empowerment, right? Just sharpen your tools. Please, please, please send them my way. The best way you can contribute is to share this conversation, to share that there's men in the world. Like a gay men's coach, that sounds awesome. I want to meet this guy.
Mhm. He's
I
amazing.
wouldn't know about that if we're not talking about these things, right? So,
Right.
whatever, as soon as we share about the things that most frighten us, this challenges, we become set free. And I really
Correct.
believe that it's through community that we can heal, grow, and change the world together.
Hmm.
And Daniel, it's in your presence and everyone who's listening, it's whether live or on the podcast, it's in your presence and your listening that I really get filled up, and I'm so grateful for you and this community and this
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you so much, Ben. Likewise. Likewise. And how does it get even better? Right? What else can we learn and from each other and grow? So thank you
Yes.
guys for being a part of our community. Ben and I are incredibly grateful and incredibly honored. And we look forward to more magic with you guys. And hopefully we get to meet you in person one day. Soon. One day soon.
Yeah, I'm creating it. I'm creating it. I'm going to be having retreats in Costa Rica very, very soon. The other thing, I want to make a very clear invitation for anyone who's listening. Dude School starts this come Monday in 5 days, 6 days. So if you're interested, please reach out to me, schedule calls, send me a DM. I will personally connect you, share all the information, and get you and where you need to be to set up this program. It's 12 weeks. It's just a season. It's less than $1,000, and it's all about creating community, accountability, empowerment, growth, and healing.
Let's say it's less than $1,000, but more than you could ever imagine receiving.
That's
So be
right. The
willing to.
value is unbelievable.
The value
And
is unbelievable.
then is this month turned over, because today is the first day of February. It's Black
Woo!
History
Wow.
Month. It's a
Yes.
full moon coming.
Yes.
There's a lot to celebrate and be grateful for,
Hmm.
honor,
Yep.
and Daniel Tuttle's coming to New York. So everyone
Daniel
clear your
Tuttle's coming to New
calendars.
York.
Get ready.
That's right, guys. I can't
I
wait.
can't wait to hug you.
I can't wait to hug you. Finally. Guys, thank you for everything, Ben. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Yes, we will. Please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. We love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Ben.